This presentation is part of a workshop voicing indigenous food sovereignty struggles, which has been organized by the project Indigenous Food Systems in Transition, financed by Future Food at the Swedish University for Agricultural Sciences. Furthermore, the workshop was organized in collaboration with Case Study 18 of the Horizon 2020 Finance project Just North. You are welcome to listen to the lecture.
So it's my pleasure to present Maria Uden, who is a professor at the Luleå University of Technology in Sweden. So her talk will be on reclaiming circular food production requires new technology. Quite thought-provoking. Maria, please, the screen is yours. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I will share the screen. Obviously, my name is Maria Uden, and the presentation is made together with Mrs. Anneli Päiviö, who is a reindeer herder in Norrbotten County, where I live and work. So I'm a researcher, and Anneli is a reindeer herder, but most of all, she is an entrepreneur within the Sami community, both the local community where she lives and in national organizations and regional with tourism and other things, branches. The platform from where I speak now is a project called Ren Resurs, funded by the European Union and national funding from the regional authorities in northernmost Sweden, Region Norrbotten, and northernmost Finland, Lapinliitto. The partners are Luleå University of Technology, we are coordinators, and Sápmi Innovation, which Anneli Päiviö owns together with Kerstin Kemlén, so it's a private enterprise, and Lapin Ammattikorkeakoulu, Lapland University of Applied Sciences in Rovaniemi, Finland. The complete project name, it's very long, sometimes it gets like that. Resource Pool for Entrepreneurship in Reindeer Industry and Associated Branches, Quality in Slaughter and Cutting. So that is the platform from where I speak now, but I also speak from long-term collaboration with especially Anneli Päiviö and Kerstin Kemlén in Sápmi Innovation on different issues that have to do with the development of local industry, reindeer herding, not least. Yeah. And this project, which is the platform from where I speak now, the idea came from a previous project run by Sápmi Innovation, where they wanted to address the issue of lack of personnel, lack of capacity in reindeer slaughter and cutting. They had a business idea to create a resource pool where people who would be interested to take these jobs could join, and then a matching procedure with those who needed people to work in these seasonal branches, as it's, you know, reindeer slaughtery is a seasonal industry. So the need for labor force varies throughout the year. So they realized if it shall be possible to offer a staff for slaughter and cutting, there need to be some kind of training involved. And that's the thing we are working with in the current project, together with Lapin Ammattikorkeakoulu, to develop a concept, fairly validated concept for such a course, short course that could be offered for the people who would be interested to learn and to be able to work in the sector. Our Finnish project partner, Lapin AMK, is headed by Kirsi Muutoranta. Kirsi is the Finnish project manager in this Interreg project. She has a research education, and she works with vocational training for slaughter and cutting. Some other things as well, of course, but that is a very important input to our cross-border collaboration, because we don't have the any corresponding capacity for vocational training in northern Sweden. So we had an idea that came from Sweden, and we have a capacity in Finland, and we also think that if we can train people to work across borders, it will be a better kind of business opportunity, both for those who need the staff and for those who are interested in taking jobs in the sector. So what has this got to do with recycling, so to speak, or no, circular production, of course, not recycling? Well, the front lines that we work with in the Rain Research Project, of course, they have to do with organizing learning and training, which has a lot of issues and obstacles to come by, like language differences, who we don't speak, all don't speak the same language, and so on. We have to handle that, and we need to find the best practice in hygiene, animal welfare, and so forth, which is, of course, a knowledge that Lapin Ammattikorkeakoulu have, but we have to also address the cross-border dimension and different practices in Sweden and Finland. But this is the key then to why we think about the circular and greener slaughter and cutting. Is that, of course, both Sapmi and Innovation and Lapin Ammattikorkeakoulu, the people there, they are very much involved in contemporary thinking about trends in product and business development associated to reindeer husbandry. And of course, they are very much aware of market trends and fluctuations, like when tourism breaks down, as it has done during the COVID period. Well, there aren't any tourists who want to buy reindeer skin, and so on and so forth. And yeah, so so coming to the key point here, that there is also, as I'm sure you already are very much aware of, much interest in reclaiming what one could call a circular food production, that is industrial slaughter and cutting, as it has been developed since the 1960s, 70s. frankly, quite a lot of the slaughtered reindeer is wasted. And of course, that was not how traditional slaughter and cutting was done. It is given. It's like when one lives with a resource, one takes care of it and make the most of it. If one can import from somewhere lots of food stuff and I don't know what products based on oil and whatever. I mean, you can be rather well, frivolous about its use, but naturally in older days, in all agricultural areas, people thought very much about taking care of whatever the produce offered. And slaughter and cutting was much more than today. A kind of what we could call a circular type of production. And this includes then that we don't just take the meat, intestines, of course, but also other byproducts like skin and tendons, and of course the antlers. Everybody know about the antlers for many reasons, but not just that. So if we want to I should say that, so this is something that we aim to involve in some way in the training for the future staff in slaughter and cutting, so that they are at least prepared for thinking about and being able to catch the trend wherever it goes. Because knowledge is required to do that, and preparation for knowledge is one step. So we have the context is that food production is industry today. It's not, the reindeer is not solely something that the family or extended family and neighbors eat. It's something that is slaughtered to generate an income for the reindeer owner, but also for every step on the way in the slaughter, cutting, and food production steps, as we have, as other presenters have emphasized their importance. And so, because the reindeer are sold, the reindeer meat and the reindeer products are sold, there are regulations for instance, the design of the premises and the routines for slaughter and cutting. So if we want to sell a product, we need to follow those regulations. And the same applies if we want to reintroduce traditional food stuff. We need to think of a way how to do it so that we still abide to the rules that are motivated by consumer concerns, of course. we certainly agree that it's important that those standards are put high, very high. So this requires routines in the slaughterhouses and skills among the cutters. And in many cases, also new tools and machines in the slaughteries and in steps after the slaughter and in the cutting. And the same goes if we want to take care of more byproducts, for instance, for crafts. Both Anneli and I are really interested in crafts. So if we want to complete the resource chain, if we want to respect the reindeer and all the gifts that the reindeer have for us, we should take care of everything. Yeah. And it's traditionally that is not difficult, and everything is indeed valuable as foodstuff or for other purposes. So, to take care of these products like or raw materials, we can call them, like the skin or the tendons or whatever, this requires also routines in the slaughterhouses and skills among the cutters. It requires that someone can make money on doing that, and it requires that specifically the cutters then know how to do, so that the raw material won't be destroyed in the process. Obviously, large hides are taken care of to higher or lesser degree, depending on the demand situation, but also the skin from the legs, which is one of the key examples of specialized use to sew traditional shoes, not least. Yeah, and
yes, Maria, can you please try to wrap up?
yeah,
Thank you.
this is wrapping up. Sorry. Yeah. So routines and skills are needed, and industrial cutting and handling may counter potentials. So the way it's done today in what we can call contemporary industrial cutting, or yesterday's industrial cutting, if we want to change the situation, it does indeed destroy some of the possibilities, the potentials for making use of the reindeer raw materials. And also in this case, we need new tools and machines, which is not, developed in no time. We require, some thought. So this is a photography comparison. To the left, a person taking care of the skin from the leg, and we later also take care of the tendon. And to the right, a machine that was designed, the owner is Sápmi Innovation, where you can fasten the legs and thereby use both hands, which is cutting time. It cuts time use, and it saves your hands, because you can use both hands, and it will not be so tiresome. So, and this is just, scopes and conclusions for industrial design, which is more my area here. Well, a post-humanist perspective, where relations we have with the environment need make sense. Obviously, green supply chains require new facilities and tools. It builds on knowledge transferred as tradition, but can't be done the old ways because of the reasons I mentioned. And then relearning industrial design, the tools and equipment and routines for a more, let's say, green cutting and a cutting industry. So relearning industrial design is as complicated as it once was to build it the way it's done today. So if we want to have a more circular type of production, as we can call it perhaps, if we want to have to make use of the whole reindeer in pace with time, a thought in pace with time, but we need to work on it to make it a possibility where the people involved can earn some money, which they certainly need to do, and that fits with today's expectations on hygiene, working environment, and so on. That's all.